You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
As 2025 approaches, I can't help but marvel at how quickly time has flown by. It feels like just yesterday I was on your screens proclaiming that 2024 would be a wild year. And now, in a matter of months, I'll be saying 2025 is going to be crazy too. But I bring up 2025 not just to remind you that we're all getting older. I promise I'm not trying to scare you. The upcoming year is set to be particularly interesting for the Snow White saga in the film industry. Disney's Snow White is scheduled for release in the US on March 21st, and what a roller coaster this has been. It's safe to say we haven't seen a film spark this much controversy in a long time. Amidst all this, something unexpected happened last year. The Daily Wire announced its own adaptation of Snow White, set to debut in 2025. This version aims to counter what many see as the overly woke narrative that Disney has been pushing. With Brie Cooper cast as Snow White, it's certainly stirring up conversations. For those who haven't caught the trailer for the Daily Wire's take on Snow White, let's take a moment to watch it. Once upon a time, a prince would come, but now that time feels distant. What really cracks me up is how the trailer is shorter than any of the dwarfs from the original fairy tale. Yet I find myself more intrigued by this version than Disney's. That's quite telling. A lot of the discontent seems to stem from Rachel Zegler's apparent lack of respect for the character and the direction Disney is taking. They seem intent on turning it into a girl boss narrative. And frankly, audiences are growing tired of it. In the brief 1-minute and 18-second trailer from Disney, we see just how lackluster the film looks. The CGI dwarfs replace the classic magical creatures, and shockingly, the evil queen appears more appealing than Snow White herself. If I were a prince in this film, I wouldn't be chasing after Snow White, that's for sure. Speaking of the prince, Rachel Zegler has even suggested that he's a stalker. She argues that the film's portrayal of true love is outdated, given that the original was made in 1937. It's baffling why someone who expresses such disdain for the original story would want to play this iconic character. With all the backlash, Disney's Snow White has now racked up over 1 million dislikes on its trailer. Let me repeat, over 1 million dislikes. You certainly can't say the same for the Daily Wire's version, which indicates that audiences are craving a simpler, more respectful approach to these timeless tales. In the rapidly evolving landscape of film adaptations, particularly those reimagining classic stories, the impending showdown between two Snow White adaptations in 2025 has ignited heated discussions. At the heart of this debate is the tension between maintaining original narratives and the influence of contemporary cultural perspectives. The Disney version, featuring Rachel Zegler as the titular character, has come under fire for its modern reinterpretation of the classic fairy tale. Critics argue that this adaptation strays too far from the original story, introducing elements that some feel undermine its fundamental themes. Disney's Snow White has received ongoing scrutiny, particularly regarding its so-called woke agenda. Many believe that the new film attempts to infuse progressive ideas into a tale that was never intended to explore such concepts. This has led to a divide among audiences. While some appreciate the attempt to modernize the narrative and make it more relevant to today's social issues, others feel that it dilutes the essence of what Snow White is truly about. They argue that the story's inherent themes of beauty, love, and innocence should remain at the forefront, rather than being overshadowed by modern political correctness. Conversely, the Daily Wire's adaptation, starring Brie Cooper as the evil queen, aims to preserve the original themes and spirit of the story. This version seems to resonate with audiences who favor a traditional interpretation, rejecting what they see as Disney's progressive spin. Supporters of this approach believe that it returns to the core essence of Snow White, focusing on timeless elements that have captivated audiences for generations. They argue that a narrative centered on classic themes such as beauty, vanity, and love should be celebrated rather than transformed into something unrecognizable. As we anticipate this cinematic face-off, it becomes evident that the two adaptations could not be more different. On one side, we have Disney's attempt to appeal to a younger audience, infusing contemporary cultural norms and values into its storytelling. While this approach may resonate with some viewers, it raises questions about the potential consequences of altering a beloved classic. Critics of Disney's adaptation contend that it risks alienating those who cherish the original narrative and its themes. On the other side, the Daily Wire's version caters to an audience yearning for familiarity and authenticity. It seems poised to offer a more traditional storytelling experience, appealing to those who feel that modern interpretations often overlook the essence of the characters and their journeys. This perspective suggests that there is a significant portion of the audience who still appreciate the romantic ideals present in classic fairy tales, where love plays a central role in the narrative. Moreover, the backlash against the notion of a woman being rescued by a man in modern storytelling highlights a cultural shift that some deem excessive. Critics argue that dismissing such themes as inherently misogynistic overlooks the complexity of human relationships and the appeal of traditional romance. While the notion of female empowerment is undeniably important, there are still many women who cherish the idea of love and romance in storytelling. It's crucial to recognize that narratives can explore themes of vulnerability and love without compromising the message of empowerment. Recently, Rachel Zegler expressed her thoughts on the matter in an interview with Variety, suggesting that the story's reinterpretation was essential for a new generation. However, the question remains whether these changes truly serve the narrative or simply cater to modern sensibilities. As we look ahead to the release of both adaptations, the potential for a captivating discussion around storytelling, cultural values, and the impact of modernization on classic tales is undeniable. In conclusion, the forthcoming Snow White adaptations from Disney and Daily Wire represent more than just two retellings of a fairy tale. They symbolize a cultural crossroads in storytelling. As audiences prepare for the inevitable showdown, it will be fascinating to see which version resonates more deeply with viewers. Will it be Disney's modern take that seeks to redefine a classic, or Daily Wire's commitment to preserving the original themes that many still hold dear? The outcome may well reflect broader societal attitudes towards love, tradition, and the power of storytelling in the modern age. In the historical lore surrounding Snow White, there exists a compelling backstory that describes how she survived a snowstorm as a baby, leading her king and queen parents to name her Snow White as a testament to her resilience. This aspect of her narrative is crucial to our film, especially for young women and individuals who need a reminder of their inner strength. One of the film's central themes is the importance of recognizing and embracing one's own resilience. This message has been echoed throughout the promotional materials, emphasizing Disney's commitment to transforming Snow White into a symbol of empowerment. However, some critics see this as an insincere approach, layered with superficial messaging that fails to resonate with the deeper roots of the original story. On the other hand, there's the Daily Wire's adaptation titled Snow White and the Evil Queen. While Disney has faced significant backlash over its progressive reinterpretation of the classic tale, the Daily Wire seized the opportunity to carve out its own narrative. In October 2023, coinciding with Disney's centennial celebrations, co-founder Jeremy Boring announced that his company would be producing its own rendition of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. During an appearance on the Jordan B. Peterson podcast, actress Brett Cooper shared insights into the motivation behind the Daily Wire's decision to create an alternative version of the story. Cooper noted that many viewers felt disappointed and frustrated with Disney's direction, which led to a strong desire for a more traditional interpretation. People were very upset about the way Disney was rolling out this project, she explained. She went on to confirm that the film was already in pre-production, with a planned release set for 2025. Critiquing Disney's modern approach, Cooper didn't hold back, stating, "As someone who leans towards more traditional values, it's disheartening to see these beloved stories being fundamentally altered to fit a woke agenda." This sentiment resonates with the Daily Wire's broader mission, as the company aims to position itself as a counterbalance to what it perceives as Hollywood's increasingly progressive cultural narrative. There is a palpable demand for an alternative perspective in storytelling, especially among audiences who feel marginalized by the prevailing trends in mainstream media. This desire for balance is evident in the strong reactions to Disney's adaptation, suggesting that there is a substantial audience yearning for content that aligns more closely with traditional values and themes. As for Rachel Zegler's portrayal of Snow White, her views on the character and the story have been widely discussed. We've seen her articulate her passion for the role in various interviews, emphasizing her commitment to delivering a performance that resonates with modern audiences. While we don't need to delve into every clip or soundbite, let's take a moment to examine one particular statement that captures her vision for the character. This unfolding narrative presents a fascinating contrast between two adaptations of a beloved tale, each aiming to connect with audiences in different ways. Disney's version seeks to reinvent Snow White through a contemporary lens, embedding themes of empowerment and resilience within its retelling. In contrast, the Daily Wire's adaptation aims to honor the traditional elements of the story, focusing on timeless values that have defined the tale for generations. Ultimately, the release of both films will set the stage for a larger conversation about storytelling in today's cultural climate. As audiences weigh the merits of each interpretation, it will be intriguing to see which adaptation strikes a chord and fulfills the expectations of viewers craving authenticity, while also engaging with themes that resonate across generations. The discussions surrounding these adaptations highlight the ongoing tension between modern reinterpretations and the desire to preserve the integrity of cherished stories, making this cinematic showdown one to watch in the coming years. What I'd like to do now is share some clips of Brett Cooper discussing the story and her perspective on the entire situation. First, we'll watch a segment from the Jordan Peterson podcast, followed by an announcement she made on her own channel. The contrast between the two is quite striking, so take a look.
You've now heard me speak for I don't know how many hours we've been talking, but about my love of literature and stories. Yeah. And I grew up reading classic literature. I grew up reading the traditional stories. I grew up reading Grimm's.
I honestly can't believe what Disney is doing. Based on what we've seen from both adaptations, who do you think will portray Snow White better and ultimately win the showdown in 2025? It seems pretty clear that one actress genuinely enjoys embodying the character and honoring the original story, while the other appears to be in it just for the paycheck and to promote Disney's woke agenda. This situation illustrates why hiring diverse talent to remake classic stories often backfires. It frustrates audiences. Yet, it seems that Disney is determined to continue down this path, regardless of the financial losses they might incur. The upcoming Snow White film they're producing is laughable in terms of the potential money they could lose. I'm eagerly anticipating more news about the Daily Wire's version of Snow White, as I believe it will overshadow Disney's effort and make them look foolish in the process. I don't think anyone would be upset to see that outcome. I'd love to hear your thoughts on both films, as well as your opinions on Rachel Zegler and Brett Cooper. If you enjoyed this discussion, please leave a like. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Also, let me know who you think will come out on top in the 2025 showdown. It seems obvious, but I'm curious to hear your take. Until next time, this has been your host, JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and take care. Peace.